Hello class 8 students, welcome back to the social science class. Today we are going to... first chapter of civics is Constitution, its role. So let's start the chapter. Start reading with me. The Constitution of a nation is a document which contains people's aspirations, values and ideals. It is considered very sacred. It is also basis of all the laws according to which the nation is governed. It determines the role and responsibilities of the central government, the state government and the local bodies. It enlists the duties as well as the rights of the people. There are three parts of the state: the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. The legislature creates the laws, the executive implements them and the judiciary punishes those who violate the laws. Beginning of a new era. 26 January 1950 is the red letter day in the history of modern India. On this day, the Constitution of India came into force. From this day onwards, we began to govern ourselves according to the laws made by our elected representatives. Need for the Constitution. Every country needs a constitution for functioning of its government. The Constitution ensures that the government will not run according to the desire of any individual or a group of people, howsoever powerful they may be. Before 15th August 1947, our country was governed by rules made by the British rulers. We did not have much attached that immediately affected us. The right to vote was given only to a few selected adults. After independence, it was felt that then existing laws could not meet our needs. So, a new constitution was framed for the country. A republic is different from the nation ruled by a foreign ruler. Now, the power of the state vests in the people of India. No other country has any say in the laws that we make for our people. We are bound only by the Constitution. It is therefore our duty that we must respect our Constitution and be loyal to it. The Constitution of India has 470 articles and 12 schedules. At the time of inception, there were only 9 schedules. A number of items concerning how we shall be governed are set in form of articles. The schedules are statements included in the Constitution to give a clear and detailed meaning to the articles. Framing of the Constitution. The Constitution of our nation was framed by an assembly of elected representatives. Elections in the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946. The Constituent Assembly came into form soon after and its first meeting held on 9 December 1946. There were 389 elected members in the Constituent Assembly. Their members were elected by the members of the provincial assemblies. Most of the members of the Constituent Assembly belonged to the Indian National Congress. There were also some members who belonged to other political parties. The members of the Muslim League did not take part in the proceedings of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly had representatives from almost all the political parties, communities and regions of India. It included some of the foremost men and women of India who had distinguished themselves in various walks of life. The best available legal brains in the nation were associated with the framing of the Constitution. The Assembly was fortunate in having in it several prominent political leaders who had for many years fought for the independence of the country. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Maulana Azad were some of the great leaders of the Indian National Congress. Renowned persons like Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Frank Anthony and Sardar Valdev Singh, Dr. H.P. Modi were associated with the framing of the Constitution even though they were not members of the Indian National Congress. Dr. H.P. Modi and Frank Anthony represented the Parsis and Anglo-Indians respectively. The constitutional experts like Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and K.M. Munshi were also members of the Constituent Assembly. The names of Mrs. Sarojini Naidu and Mrs. Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit deserve special mention. The Constituent Assembly was thus representative of all cross-sections of the Indian people. Working of Constituent Assembly. The first meeting of Constituent Assembly was held on 9 December 1946 in the Central Hall of the Parliament. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was unanimously elected the President of the Constituent Assembly. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was made the Chairman of the Drafting Committee. The drafting committee studied the constitution of a number of countries such as France, Canada, Switzerland, USA, Australia, etc. The committee took their best features and adopted them. It also kept in view India's historical and cultural tradition. The best features of the existing constitutions gave our constitution a unique face. By February 1948, the draft constitution was ready. It was published in the leading newspapers of the country. Suggestions were sought from the people. The drafting committee studied the suggestions received and made necessary changes in the original draft. On 4 November 1948, the draft constitution was presented in the Constituent Assembly. It was discussed in detail for about a year. Then, on 26 November 1949, the constitution was ultimately signed by the members of a Constituent Assembly. However, it came into effect only 3 months later. There is a historical reason for this. On 26 January in the year 1929, at its Lahore session, the Indian National Congress had adopted the attainment of Purna Swaraj, the complete independence, as its final objective. In remembrance of this historic day, it was decided to enforce the Constitution with effect from 26 January 1950. For the first time in the year 1951, elections were held in the accordance with the provisions of the new Constitution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected the first President of India and Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister of the Indian Republic. Constitution making a challenging task. The framing of constitution for a nation as big as India was a very difficult and challenging task. There are number of diversities by way of religion, languages and culture. Every aspect had to be kept in view while framing the constitution, while unifying due care and concern was to be shown to regional aspirations. It took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to finally pass the constitution. A sum of rupees 6.4 crore was spent on the Constituent Assembly during that period. The constitution proved a success. Whenever necessary, it has been amended in the interest of social justice and harmony. The word law is derived from Latin word lag, which means regulate, definite, stable and uniform. A law is equally applicable to all citizens. The rich and poor are equal in the eyes of the law. Law is a set of rules obeying which helps to maintain harmony in society. Need for law. We need laws for following reasons. We need laws to carry our work smoothly. We need laws for the welfare of individual as well as society. We need laws for developing good habits and maintaining discipline. We need laws to get the best out of our resources. According to the Indian Constitution, the central government is authorized to make laws on 97 subjects. The state government is empowered to frame laws on 66 subjects and both government can frame laws on 47 subjects. The major subjects on which the central government frame laws are defense, citizenship, railways, currency, post and telegraphs, and any other matter not listed in the category of state laws or concurrent subjects. The state can frame laws on subjects like prison, agriculture, public health and trade and commerce within the state. The local bodies can frame laws on local water supply, property tax, local transport and other civic matters. Do you know, Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 is aimed at providing protection to wife or female live-in partner from violence at the hands of the husband's or male live-in partner or his relative. Meaning of dowry. Dowry is a gift given by the parents of the bride at the time of marriage of their daughter to the bridegroom and his family. Meaning of dowry as per law. Gifts demanded by bridegrooms or his parents from the parents of the bride at the time of marriage are called dowry. If gifts is given voluntarily, it is not considered dowry. Evil aspects of dowry. The marriage ceremony becomes an occasion for sale and purchase. The parents of the daughter have to take debts to arrange for dowry. Often parents of the groom use unfair means to get dowry. Several girls remain unmarried as their parents are not in position to arrange the dowry. Parents often resort to killing of baby daughters even before their birth. Bridegroom and the parents do all kind of atrocities when their daughter-in-laws do not bring them the desired amount of dowry. The Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. The Government of India took a very serious notice of the terrible consequences of the practice of dowry and passed the Dowry Prohibition Act in 1961. Demanding dowry was declared an offence. According to the act, the dowry seeker could be imprisoned for 6 months or fined up to rupees 5,000. This step did not prove successful. In case of dowry rape, the law provides for imprisonment for over 7 years. In 1983, Dowry Act was amended. According to this amendment, the person, that is the husband or the relative of husband, could be punished with life imprisonment with a fine of rupees 15,000. The laws framed by the government regarding eliminating dowry have not proved effective. Daily we hear and read news of dowry deaths by various media. There is an acute need for a strong movement against this evil practice. The sooner this evil practice ends, the better it would be for India's future. Roles of Constitution in determining the legitimacy of the law. Democratic states accept the right of the people to express their views on every action of the government. Law is no exception. The condition is that dissent should be expressed in peaceful manner. Acts of violence must not be resorted to. Prohibition. Prohibition implies the act of stopping by law the manufacture, transportation and sale of alcoholic liquors except for medicinal purposes. Constitutional provisions on prohibition, Article 47 under Directive Principles of State Policy. The state shall try to bring about prohibition of the consumption except for medicinal purposes of intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health. The issues of prohibition comes under the authority of the states, that is the policy related to prohibition is to be followed by the states. Prohibition or anti-liquor campaign. During the freedom struggle, anti-liquor campaigns were launched in different states. Gandhiji in this regard had said, if I were appointed dictator for 1 hour for India, the first thing I would be to close without compensation all liquor shops. Consumption of liquor is a grave social problem. Liquor is intoxicating and under its influence people lose their sense. Quarrels also take place sometimes among people. Consumption of liquor is also injurious to health. The Prohibition of Inquiry Committee 1956. The committee gave a number of suggestions with a view to control the consumption of liquor. Some states took some steps, but the outcomes were not encouraging. The state of Gujarat has achieved some success in enforcing the prohibition laws. On the whole, it is to be said that the policy of prohibition has not been successful. It is a matter of serious concern that some sections of society which boast of modernization consider consumption of liquor a status symbol. Genuine and consistent efforts required to get rid of social evils like dowry and use of intoxicants. In such issues, government's efforts can yield fruitful result only when people are wide awake and cooperate with the government agencies. Preamble as the source of vision. The preamble of the Constitution, it is the introductory statement that provides briefly the objectives of the Constitution. The preamble provides guidance to the representatives of the people in their task. It gives expression to aspirations of the Indian people. Every word of the preamble has its importance. We must understand the complete meaning of these words and terms used in the preamble. We the people of India. The preamble of our Constitution commences with the word "We the people of India." It refers that the Constitution derives its authority from the people of India. The final source of all power are the people of India. India as sovereign. Before independence, we were governed by the laws made by the British ruler. There is no such foreign control over us now. We can frame our laws without any external interferences. Our head of the state is the President of India, who is elected and not appointed. The sovereignty rests in the people of India, who are the ultimate masters of their own destiny. India is democratic. The great thinker and President of USA Abraham Lincoln 1861 to 65 AD defined democracy as the government of the people, by the people and for the people. In our country, it is through our elected representatives that the state policy is made and implemented for the welfare of our people. Elections are held every 5 years. The people of India elect their representatives for the state assemblies and the parliament at the center. No tax can be levied on any citizen except through the authority of the parliament, a state legislature, or a local body. India is a republic. In a republic system, no external authority has any say in the affairs of the country. Before independence, the Queen or King of Britain happened to be the constitutional head of India. But with the introduction of our constitution, we have become a republic and our elected representatives in the parliament and state legislation have equal freedom. India is secular. In India, the laws of the state do not show discrimination for any particular religious group. The freedom to follow a faith of one's choice is guaranteed in the Constitution. In terms of employment, no restrictions can be imposed on the basis of a person's religion. India is a socialist. Our Constitution aims at establishing a socialist society. The Constitution aims at providing measures through which economic disparities may be diminished. It does not mean that government intends to make the rich people poor. The intention is to raise the standard of the living of the people who are economically backward. There are special provisions in the Constitution that allow the government to make legislation for protecting the interest of the weaker sections of the society. Economic justice is ensured through provisions like minimum wage and equal opportunities for employment in the commercial organizations. Political justice means that there is liberty to have any political views, but they must not go against the interest of the nation as a whole. Similarly, there is the freedom to vote for any recognized political party in the country. Liberty and equality. The Constitution provides that no citizen shall be deprived of his freedom. There can be no detention without proper authority of law. There is also the freedom of expression and speech. Equal opportunities are ensured to all citizens for their fullest development. Fraternity. The Constitution intends to promote the feeling of mutual brotherhood among all citizens. Liberty, fraternity, and equality are interrelated. It is only when all citizens are free and bound by a feeling of brotherhood that there can be equality. Similarly, only citizens with equal freedom and equal rights can have a feeling of brotherhood for each other. Equality before law and a feeling of brotherhood for each other alone can ensure that there will be real freedom. The Constitution provides that all men are born as equal and free, so it guarantees to them these basic freedom. Meaning of secularism. Secularism denotes equal regard for the religious sentiments of all people. All people have the freedom to follow any religion in India. Secularism means that all are free to preach the faith of their liking. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the principal architect of the Constitution, was of the view that secular does not mean that the state shall not take into consideration the religious sentiments of the people. The secular state means that the parliament shall not impose any particular religion upon the people. Secularism treats all religions on equal footing and accepts freedom of religion. Secularism believes in religious coexistence and people following different religions can live side by side. Constitutional provisions, secularism in fundamental rights. Regarding secularism, the following articles exist in the Constitution of India. Article 18. The state does not discriminate against any citizen on grounds of any religion. All citizens have equal access to shop, tanks, wells, and public places. Article 25(1). All citizens are equally free to follow any religion of their choice. Article 27. No person can be made to pay any tax for the promotion of any religion. Article 28(1). Religious instructions can be provided in any educational institutions wholly maintained out of state funds. Article 29 first. On religious ground, no citizen can be denied admission to any educational institutions maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state fund. Article 30. It gives right to establish educational institutions to religious and linguistic minorities based on religion or language. It also prohibits any discrimination in grant of aid to any educational institutions run by a religious minority. Fundamental rights. Part 3rd of the Constitution is devoted to fundamental rights. The following fundamental rights are guaranteed to all citizens. Right to equality, Article 14 to 17. Right to freedom, Article 19 to 22. Right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24. Right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights, Article 29 to 30. Right to constitutional remedies, Article 32 and 35. Right to education, 21A. This article was inserted in 2002. The original Article 45 was amended. Right to equality. India is a very large country. The people belong to various racial groups and follow different religions, faiths. People from many nations came in the past and made India their permanent home. The color of their skin is not the same, but despite all these diversities, a common thread of being an Indian runs through them. Our Constitution recognizes this and guarantees equality before law to all citizens irrespective of their religion, caste, race, sex or place of birth. All citizens have equal access to public places including place of entertainment, hotels, wells, tanks, roads, ghats, bathing, etc. No government agency is allowed to discriminate against any citizen in matters of employment. Similarly, while giving admissions, schools are not allowed to consider the religion or caste of the students. No person can practice untouchability against another citizen. Untouchability has been abolished by law and anyone practicing it can be prosecuted by the court of law and punished with imprisonment up to 6 months or fine of 500. Marginalized communities and their welfare. The state government have to make a list of certain castes who were victims of caste system and were considered untouchability in the past. These castes are generally termed as scheduled caste. In addition to scheduled caste, there are also certain tribes that are considered as less advanced. These people have remained economically and educationally backward for centuries. They have been referred to as scheduled tribes. The right to equality does not prevent the state from making special provisions for the betterment and upliftment of people belonging to scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. In Free India, provisions have been made to give them special support to enable them to come up to the level of the rest of the country, educationally and economically. Certain percentage of seats have been reserved for them in educational institutions as well as in selection for public appointments. These provisions have helped to secure substantial social justice for a large section of our people in accordance with the objectives set out in the preamble as well as the directive principles of state policy. Right to freedom. This right is the basis of Indian democracy. It provides for 7 freedoms. 0. Freedom of speech and expression. Freedom to form unions and association. Freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. Freedom to move freely all over the country. Freedom to settle in any part of the country. Freedom to practice any profession or carry on any occupation, trade or business. Citizens can enjoy these freedoms only under the certain limits and conditions. In fact, the freedom of speech is meaningful only when no one has the freedom to abuse. All these freedoms have to be enjoyed with the certain restrictions in social interest. We must enjoy our independence in a way that it does not obstruct the freedom of the other citizens. Right against exploitation. In our society, all sections are not equally in the position to protect their rights. The Constitution provides that human beings cannot be sold as slaves. The law of the state protects children below 14 years of age from being employed in hazardous jobs that might have adverse effects on their future growth. Right to freedom of religion. India is a secular state in which all religions are equal before the law. All citizens are free to profess the religion of their choice. They are free to construct places of worship like temples, mosques, gurudwaras, and churches, etc. Different religious communities can establish their own educational institutions. Cultural and educational rights. India is a vast country having established varied living styles. The Constitution allows groups of people, howsoever small, to preserve their language and culture. Minorities based on religion and language have the right to set up and administer educational institutions. The state provides financial assistance to all institutions in an equal manner. Right to constitutional remedies. This is the most important right among the fundamental rights. If any citizen feels that his right has been violated by another citizen or even an agency of the government, he or she can approach the High Court and Supreme Court for seeking justice. These courts can enforce the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution. Fundamental duties. Without duties, there would be chaos everywhere. It is possible to enjoy rights only when others are performing their duties. In fact, duties and rights go hand in hand. Society works on the people. He who takes gives, and he who gives takes. The society can take care of the individuals only if the individuals take care of the society. Article 51A. Article 51A deals with the fundamental duties of the citizens. These duties are as follows. Do you know fundamental rights have been borrowed from the constitutions of the United States of America? Respect for national symbols. To abide by the constitutions and respect its ideas and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Following noble ideas. To follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for independence. Keeping sovereignty intact. To protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of the nation, that is India. Defending the nation. To defend the nation and ready to render services when called upon to do so. Promoting harmony. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending linguistic, religious and regional or sectional diversities. To leave out practices derogatory to the dignity of women. Preserving rich heritage. To preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Protection, environment. To protect and improve the natural environment including forests, rivers, lakes, wildlife and to have compassion for living creatures. Developing scientific spirit. To develop humanism, scientific temper and the spirit of inquiry. Protecting public property. To safeguard the public property and condemn and avoid violence. Striving towards excellence. To strive towards excellence in all fields of individual and collective activities so that the country constantly rises to higher levels of achievement. Providing opportunities for primary education. To provide opportunities for education to all children between the age of 6 and 14 years. Thank you class. Let's meet again in the next chapter.